Throughout history, women have endured punishments that not only sought to correct behavior but to control their voices, bodies, and very existence. From cruel rituals to public tortures, these practices were not merely about enforcing laws but were reflections of deeply ingrained societal inequality and abuse of power. In this video, we journey into the past to uncover some of the most brutal punishments inflicted on women across cultures and eras. These are stories of suffering that must not be forgotten, serving as stark reminders of the importance of justice, equality, and humanity. Bound by pain. Footbinding in China, 10th to 20th century. For almost a millennium, the practice of footbinding in China subjected countless girls and women to unimaginable suffering in the name of beauty and status. This painful tradition began when girls as young as 5 had their feet tightly bound with cloth, breaking their bones to achieve the ideal lotus feet, which measured no more than 10 centimeters. While these deformed feet symbolized elegance and wealth among the upper class, they severely restricted mobility and caused chronic pain and infection. Though outlawed in the 20th century, the scars of this practice, both physical and cultural, remain a haunting reminder of how societal standards can oppress women under the guise of beauty. The burning pyres. Sati in 18th century India. In 18th century India, a widow's life could end alongside her husband's through the practice of sati. Women were expected to demonstrate ultimate devotion by immolating themselves on their husband's funeral pyre. Although presented as an honorable act, many widows were coerced, physically or emotionally, into participating. For them, there was no choice, only flames. This horrific tradition persisted until social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy and British colonial authorities abolished it in the 19th century. Yet, the stories of these women remain a painful testament to the price of patriarchal traditions. The public spectacle. Ducking stools in Europe, 17th to 18th century. Used primarily in England and Germany, the ducking stool was a humiliating punishment designed for women deemed to be too vocal or accused of witchcraft. The condemned woman was strapped to a wooden chair attached to a long arm and repeatedly submerged in a river or pond. This process not only caused immense physical pain but often resulted in death by drowning. Crowds gathered to jeer, turning the punishment into a mob form of entertainment, revealing the deep-seated misogyny of the era. Tortured by faith. The Inquisition's methods, 15th to 17th century. During the Inquisition in Spain and Portugal, women accused of heresy or witchcraft were subjected to horrific torture methods designed to extract confessions. Devices like the rack stretched limbs to the breaking point, while others like the Judas cradle, a sharp wooden pyramid, caused unimaginable agony. Many of these women, already victims of false choking in shame. Iron collars in medieval Europe. In medieval Europe, iron collars were a cruel punishment imposed on women accused of disobedience, adultery, or witchcraft. These heavy metal bands caused constant physical discomfort, with sharp edges often cutting into the neck and causing infections. Worn publicly, the collar subjected women to ridicule and abuse from the community. This wasn't just about punishment. It was a deliberate act of public humiliation aimed at reinforcing societal control over women's behavior. Burned alive. The public pyres of the Middle Ages. Public burnings were one of the most terrifying punishments during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, reserved primarily for women accused of witchcraft or heresy. Tied to stakes and surrounded by kindling, the condemned were set ablaze in front of gathered crowds. Often, these women were victims of baseless accusations fueled by envy, superstition, or malice. The spectacle served as both a punishment and a warning, reinforcing the fear and oppression of women who dared to challenge societal norms. The shadows of totalitarian prisons, 20th century. In the 20th century, women resisting authoritarian regimes faced unimaginable suffering in prisons. In Nazi Germany, Soviet labor camps, and Latin American dictatorship, women were arrested for challenging political oppression or fighting for equality. Inside these prisons, women endured physical abuse, starvation, and psychological torture. Despite these horrors, many emerged as symbols of resistance, proving that even in the darkest circumstances, courage and resilience can shine. The cruel test of loyalty. Hammurabi's law in ancient Mesopotamia. Under the ancient code of Hammurabi, women faced harsh punishments that often had no basis in justice but served to control their behavior and loyalty. One such punishment involved accusations of infidelity. A woman might be thrown into a river to prove her innocence. If she sank and drowned, her virtue was confirmed, a cruel irony that left her dead regardless of the outcome. These laws exemplify how deeply ingrained inequality was in ancient legal systems, where women were often treated as property rather than individuals. These stories reveal the depths of human cruelty when power and control are wielded against the vulnerable. Across eras and cultures, women have suffered unimaginable punishments. Yet, they've also demonstrated extraordinary resilience in the face of oppression. Remembering these injustices is not just about honoring the victims, it's about ensuring that such horror. You've just witnessed one of the darkest punishments in history. But many more still lurk in the shadows. So if you dare, subscribe to Torture Vault, where every scream from the past still echoes.